Hi, this is Christian, and welcome back to NFL Updates Express, your weekly dose of NFL news. Coming your way, preseason Week 2 predictions. For the spotlight game of the week, it's the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field on NFL Network. Now for the Atlanta Falcons, well, we already know 28-3, lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. That's the last time we saw them in meaningful action. And they played last week against the Miami Dolphins. The first team looked pretty solid, with Devonta Freeman scoring a touchdown and Matt Ryan looking sharp. And I think the Falcons, well, a lot of teams have suffered from the so-called Super Bowl hangover, but the Falcons are really talented. Now, the only thing I could see pushing them back this season is the loss of offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan, and he's done wonders for that team last year when they had the best offense in the league. And so it'll be interesting to see if they can keep up that pace with their new offensive coordinator in Steve Sarkisian. And I think the Falcons really have all the talent in the world, and I don't think they'll really necessarily suffer that bad from the Super Bowl hangover. And for the Steelers, they have Super Bowl aspirations as well. The Big B's, Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell, and the Steelers should be a dominant force again this year. I think this game should be pretty entertaining as we get to see the backups though, but ultimately I'll take the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this at home. Dylan's prediction is the Atlanta Falcons. In the second spotlight game of the week, it's the New Orleans Saints taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Now for the New Orleans Saints this season, I think their offensive production won't really drop off. Now you're going to say, oh yeah, they lost Brandon Cooks, their big-time play threat, and that's really going to hurt them, right? No. They have Willie Snead, an underrated receiver that almost had 1,000 yards the past 2 years, and I think he can have 1,000 yards with Cooks out of the equation. They already have Michael Thomas at receiver, a top 15 receiver in my opinion, and should continue up into the upper echelon of receivers, and especially when you have Drew Brees at quarterback, and a strong running game behind too. They have Alvin Kamara, the rookie, and a new addition through free agency in Adrian Peterson. So I think the Saints' offensive production won't drop off too much. And for the LA Chargers, well, I don't really know what to expect. They could either go 5-11 or 11-5. But I think under veteran leadership, with a pretty solid head coach, and of course Phillip Rivers, who's been there since 2004. So I really think that the Chargers could be in contention for a playoff spot this year. But overall in this game, I'll take the Los Angeles Chargers to get the job done. Dylan's prediction is the Los Angeles Chargers. For the next spotlight game of the week, it's a Florida battle when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars had a good outing against the New England Patriots in their preseason debut, scoring a lot of deep and long touchdowns on the ground and through the air. But, unfortunately for them, it's the preseason and not the regular season. But the Jaguars have a lot of talent and could contend for the AFC South title this year. They have some new weapons on offense, and they hope to get Blake Bortles back in action after having a rough season last year, throwing a lot of pick sixes, turning the football over. But if he can get going, Allen Hurns, Allen Robinson, and a new running back in Leonard Fournette, then who knows, the Jaguars' offense could be pretty potent this year. And speaking of potent offenses, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We already know about all their weapons: Deshaun Jackson, O.J. Howard the rookie, of course Mike Evans and Doug Martin when he comes back from his suspension, and Jameis Winston, of course. The third-year pro is looking to have an MVP-type season and lead his team to the playoffs for the first time since 2007. Overall, this should be a pretty entertaining game, a lot of great backups, and it doesn't really matter who wins because it is the preseason, but I'll take the Jacksonville Jaguars to get the job done at home. Dylan's prediction is the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Oakland Raiders in this preseason match. Now for the Los Angeles Rams, well, they just made a blockbuster trade which included wide receiver Sammy Watkins, a superstar receiver formerly of the Buffalo Bills, but he couldn't stay healthy, and that prompted the Bills to trade him to Los Angeles. And while I really think this will help Jared Goff in the offense, already having a superstar running back in Todd Gurley, and maybe this will take some pressure off the running game as they have two pretty solid weapons in Watkins and in Tavon Austin. And so I think this will really help the development of Goff, and maybe the Rams could take off on offense. Who knows? They had one of the worst offenses last year, so they have nowhere to go but up. And for the Oakland Raiders, I think this will be a pretty solid season for them. They have Super Bowl aspirations, and I think they can get there if they can overcome the New England Patriots and Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC. And we'll just have to see. They have a great running game with Marshawn Lynch hopefully returning, and they also have Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree. So I think this will be a pretty interesting season for them. As for the preseason, I think I'll take the Los Angeles Rams to get the job done over the Oakland Raiders. Dylan's prediction is the LA Rams.
Need to believe you could hold me down, 'cause I'm in need of something good right now. We could be screaming till the sun comes out, and when we wake we'd be the only sound. Get on my knees and say a prayer, change round, that I can make your hands clap. That I can make your hands clap. That I can make your hands clap. My flesh is searching for your worst and best, don't ever deny. I'm like a stranger, give me danger, all you're wrong and you're right. Secrets on my way to the freeway, you're a keeper of crime. Still no conviction, grips of wrath can only sweeten your wine. But you don't even know I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap. Every night when the stars come out, am I the only living soul around? Need to believe you could hold me down, 'cause I'm in need of something good right now. We could be screaming till the sun comes out, and when we wake we'd be the only sound. Get on my knees and say a prayer, change round, that I can make your hands clap. 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 So can I get a hand clap?
The player of the week is Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Jameis Winston. Now expectations are sky high in Tampa Bay, and it's up to Winston, Evans, and the crew to get the job done. Can the Buccaneers win the NFC South and make the playoffs for the first time since 2007? We'll find out and see. The Christian's Crew team of the week is the Buffalo Bills. Now the Buffalo Bills are kind of flying under the radar this year, but they have a new coach in Sean McDermott, the former defensive coordinator for Carolina, and I think the Bills could be a good team. Tyrod Taylor isn't amazing, but he's not bad either. He's a solid quarterback that can get the job done, mobile. They call him T-Mobile up in Buffalo. And with LaShawn Shady McCoy and a new receiver in Jordan Matthews after they traded Sammy Watkins, who knows, the Bills could sneak their way into the playoffs for the first time in the 21st century. For the rookie spotlight, it's DeShone Kizer, the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Now, I don't know if Kizer will start at the beginning of the season, but I'm sure by the end of the season he'll get some experience. The Browns currently have Cody Kessler on their roster that will most likely start, but if he plays bad or the Browns have another tough season, then it looks like DeShone Kizer will be a great backup and try to win them a couple of games this year. He had a great preseason Week 1 game against the New Orleans Saints, throwing a game-winning touchdown pass on 4th down, and who knows, he could be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in due time.